Hi friends and welcome to a new episode of A Journey into Thornbury's Mind, still with how to teach vocabulary and today presenting vocabulary. Actually, I think this is the most important topic in the book simply because whatever your main aim of the lesson, you are teaching reading, listening, writing, speaking, you will need to pre-teach some vocabulary. Okay, now I will show you some words and I want you please to think how would you use how would you use these words or how would you introduce these words in your class. Please pause, think and replay. Okay, do you think that these words are the same degree of complexity? Of course not. Some of them are very straightforward because students can see them can hear them or can touch them. So they are concrete words. So these are very straightforward. Others are concrete words or are very challenging when it comes to their teachings. So every one of these words has a special technique for teaching. Now I will show you some techniques of teaching these words, and I want you to match the words with these techniques. So please, for example, the word realia. What are realia? So these are real objects. Real objects that you can bring into the classroom or that are already present in the classroom environment, like windows, doors, all the furniture in the classroom, the walls, the students' clothes, yourself use the. So all these things are called realia. Some of the words are like this. So if you are teaching the word ceiling, so this you don't need to just point to it. If you teach the word fan, you just point to it. It is really, this is really. But of course, you can't bring an elephant to the classroom and say, this is an elephant. This is not possible. This is ridiculous. So you cannot do this. This is impossible. So you think of another way of presenting the word elephant. Okay, now please um, match the words with the techniques and replay. Okay, now how can we teach the word mountain? Yes, good. Oh, of course, not really. We can use picture, and here we don't use, it's not necessary to be a flashcard. You can use board drawings. So here, drawings. Okay, what other words can be shown through a picture or drawing? Yes, chalk, spoon, yeah, many other. And what about the word jump? How can we teach it? Yes, miming. So you yourself jump in class. Okay. What about the word depressed? How can you show it? Yes, you can use synonyms and antonyms. You can say depressed means sad. Very simply, you can say this is sad or not happy. Okay. So what about the word frustrated? Yeah, I think this needs an example. It's not easy to show it using facial expression or miming. This need an example. For example, you can, or a situation. So for example, you can say, my brother wants to get or to have to go for the IELTS exam. So he went for the IELTS exam 4 times. He wants to get 8 band score, but every time he goes, he gets 7 or 7.5. So finally, he became frustrated. And here also, the word frustrated means students can say sad. So here also you say frustrated and you show some facial expression to express. So you can use a combination of 2 or more techniques. So the word kidnap, yes, you can use a definition. And here you can use the dictionary definition or your own definition. If you think the dictionary definition is a bit more challenging for them, so you can grade your language or grade the language of the dictionary. So you can kidnap, so take a child from his family and hide him to ask for money or something like this. So this is, so they will understand the word kidnap from that definition. Okay, or a word like browse. Yes, you can use collocation, so you browse the internet or earn money from a job, earn money from a job. Okay, so here another word is meditation. So how can we show the word meditation? Can we show it through a picture? For example, it's very difficult to show this word this way. So we need to, why not translate it? Yes, instead of taking a lot of time and finally you will resort to translation because not all the students will understand that. So you can, it will become economic in terms of time and effort from the part of the teacher. So you say um, meditation means, and you say the word in the first language. Okay, so these are the different techniques. But is that enough to know the techniques? Or there are other important things? Now, to answer this question, I'd like to tell you, to ask you about the main features of presenting a word, which are, yes, there are a lot of features, but the main features are meaning, pronunciation, and form. And form here I mean spelling. And here we can join these two words into one, which is the form, because pronunciation is the spoken form and spelling is um, the written form of the word. But we can say pronunciation and the form, which refers to the spelling. So here, how we use this in our class. So imagine that you are using flashcards to show meaning of some sets or to present some sets of words like animals, food, or whatever. So there are some important details to think about. It's not just, okay, look, this is so. It's not like this. There are some important details to think about which make a difference in your teaching. For example, now you have the picture of a shark and you want to teach the students this. What will you do? Will you look, this is a shark? Don't do this. Thornbury thinks that this is not involving, you are not engaging your students. Students will forget both the form and the meaning of the word very quickly. They will not even go into the working memory. So what to do? Involve your students form in a process called elicitation. So you show the students, so meaning first, you show the students the word or the picture and then ask them, what's that or what's this? Let them think. Probably some of them know the word. They will tell, because this is better. And if no one tells or knows it, you can say, this is a shh. So now you involve students, you engage them, so you try to help them become curious about knowing the word. Shh, shark, shark. Then you give the pronunciation of the word. So here, meaning first or form first? Meaning first. There is something else about the form first when it comes to teaching vocabulary as a main aim and you use a text. But now we talk if the vocabulary is pre-teaching. Okay, so meaning first, then the pronunciation. Okay, so what is first? Meaning. To involve students elicit, don't tell, elicit first. Okay, now pronunciation. What is about pronunciation? There are very important principles to think about. First, when you give the pronunciation of the word, show the stress of the word or ask students about the stress. And a good way to do so, to familiarize students with the idea of stress, that you ask students in the beginning of the course about their names and ask each one to say or to think how many syllables are in his name and where the stress is. So this is to familiarize them. Then while you give the word, show the stress or ask them about the stress. Then show them the phonemic script of the word. This is very important to show the pronunciation visually. This will help students become familiar with the phonemic script in general, and also they will be able to overcome the difficulty or the problem of mismatch between spelling and pronunciation. So look at the word high. So how do you write it and how do we say it? Very different. There is a mismatch between the spelling and the pronunciation. Showing the phonemic script can help. So show the phonemic script and ask them about the stress. Another idea or another technique that you can use while to overcome the problem of mismatch between form and meaning is when you say the word or you model the word for the students, ask them to write it. So this is one way. Ask them to write it. You can ask them after training, after modeling and training, you ask them to write the word without telling them or without writing the spelling for them. So these are their expectations from the pronunciation. Then when you give them the form, they compare between what you expected and the form or the correct form of the word. This helps them a lot become aware about this match between pronunciation and spelling. Okay, so here this you do this after modeling and drilling. And now we come to modeling and drilling. There is also a very small detail here which makes a difference. What is that? The idea of drilling itself. Thornbury explains that the requirement of drilling the word in loudly or in a loud voice prevents or affects the requirement of understanding the word or memorizing it later. So what should you do as a teacher? Model the word, then give them seconds, 3-4 seconds to mumble this word, to drill it using their internal voice. So not drilling with loudly, so don't have to say the word loudly. And after these 3 or 4 seconds, they drill the word in a loud voice or loudly or in chorus, then in groups or individually, the traditional way. But mumbling here is one of which Thornbury called the silent period for before modeling and drilling, mumbling. Of course, students are not familiar with this. I have never seen this in language classrooms actually, but I use it in my classroom and this is very helpful actually. How? So you can encourage them through games. I usually ask students after presenting some words. So I ask them I will say, okay, I ask them to look at the words carefully, and then, so I ask them, okay, now I will say a word of these, and then you try to guess which word here, but I will not say it with my voice, only with lips. So for example, the word. So they keep looking at my lips, and this raises their awareness of how the word is pronounced. And then they keep looking at all the words on the board, which makes them that we focus on the form of these words, and they try to make a match between pronunciation and spelling, and this also makes them more aware of the mismatch between spelling and pronunciation. Sometimes when I have time and I want some fun in the classroom, I ask them to play these games together, to look at the set of words and then to say the word, if I want to familiarize them with the forms and pronunciation of the word, which is very interesting and effective actually. So this is about pronunciation. When you pronounce the word, show the phonemic transcript, ask them about the stress, and help them with the mumbling. So keep them silently to mumble the words or to say the words or to drill the words without voice that they do the normal drilling. Okay, another idea here before we end the video, which is important in terms of the memory and the retention of the word. You are showing now flashcards from 1 to 10, 10 words or 10 flashcards, 1, 2, 3, 4 till 10. Then how will you show, or in what order will you do this? So you will present 1, then 2, 3, 4 till 10. Actually, Thornbury thinks that is not very effective in terms of retention and memory. What he suggests is to present, for example, 1 and 2, then go for 3, then go back to 1, test it, and remind students of it. Then go for 4 and 5, then come back to 2 and 3, then go for 6, then come back to 1 and 2, then 7, then go back to 4 and 5. like this. So this is the process which he called distributed practice, making spaces between each testing or recycling and the other. These important details or these small details makes a big difference in your teaching of vocabulary. So this is the end of chapter or this chapter about teaching presenting vocabulary. Next time or then the next video we will present how to put words into work, how to practice vocabulary, and this is very helpful in terms of memorizing words and helping students to move from the short-term or from the long-term memory into the permanent memory. And here there is an important quote from Thornbury: the more decisions we make about a word, the more demanding the task or the decisions are, the more memorable the word is. Next time we'll see what kinds of decisions we can make about a word and how are they graded from the less challenging into the more challenging, and how can we make the idea of remembering words very interesting for the students. This is what we will see in the next video. If you want to follow the next videos, please subscribe and share. Thank you so much for watching and meet you next week.